Charlize Theron comes out and says that her daughter was swimming in a bathtub one day and looked up and said, "Mommy, I'm a boy," and that was it. She said, "Oh, okay," and then she let.
No, it's a boy who said, "Mommy, I'm a girl."
Mommy, I'm a girl.
Yeah.
Whichever way it was. A girl said, "Mommy, I'm a girl."
Right.
And now she allows her boy to dress as a girl.
Right. No, started dressing her as a girl at 5.
At 5 years old. And to me, and
I agree with you. I believe it is child abuse.
I thought I was
as well.
a tomboy when I was in 5th grade.
That is exactly right.
I'm so happy my mom didn't cut all my hair off and put me in baggy clothes and say, "Okay, well, you figured it out. You're in 5th grade. You know everything now." One
of the first surgeons to work on transsexual surgery at Johns Hopkins University has come out in complete opposition to it.
Interesting.
Yes, and he said, "I realize the results are not happier human beings. The suicide rate is at least as great among those who underwent surgery as those who did not. This is a terrible fix for the vast majority of people." By the way, look, all of us feel sorry. If you really do believe you're not the sex that you were born, that's tragic. I mean, we all acknowledge it.
Do they
but
really think that, or is it just
no?
confused?
I think that they are confused
about everything. By the way,
but look. Confused or not, I don't blame them for their confusion. I blame society for saying it's not confusion.
Right, I agree.
So I distinguish between my pity for them and my contempt for the people who said there's no male, female, or it's not binary.
Right. I just to me, when you're getting to the point that you're pretending that a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old has the ability to make decisions for the rest of their lives,
yes.
that genuinely
scares me. If a 5-year-old says that, you say lovingly, "No, you are a boy.
Right.
God made you a boy.
Right. God made you a boy."
That's right.
And that's what adults do.
Yes.
You steer them in the right direction.
Correct.
The kids that I used to babysit and nanny for would say things that they thought they were mermaids. Imagine me being like, "Well, here you go in the ocean." Poop.
Right. No.
She said she was a mermaid.
Yeah.
Would that be considered child abuse? He said he was Superman and he could fly off the staircase. Oh, yes, I know he fell. I know his face is broken now, but he told me he was Superman. Is that considered child abuse?
My older son did say he was Superman and did jump out.
He jumped. Oh, well, there you go. They jumped. That's really funny.
But
this is what I mean. Kids are absurd.
Why are you on the floor?
They watch one thing and you don't know where they got the idea from. And because they're so imaginative and they can step in and they can be anyone. There are kids that don't want to ever take off their Batman costume because they are Batman.
By the way, just want you to know, that is why Superman capes now come with a warning. You cannot fly with this.
Okay.
I'm not
really
joking.
Funny. That's really funny.
It's pathetic.
It's
but
pathetic.
It's
pathetic.
Exactly.
But that really speaks to the imagination of a child. You never know where they get this idea from, and they run with it for a couple of days. And you say you have to take off your Superman outfit because you aren't Superman and you can't fly. And that's the job of the parent, right? To allow them to live imaginatively and to have a good time, but to also be a parent. And at a certain point, have them accept that there are realities, and one of those realities is biological.
Get over it. He's your candidate.
And by the way, everybody needs to back off Joe Biden.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. Well, Hunter Biden got a cushy plea deal from his father's Justice Department on Tuesday, including the possible drop of a felony gun charge that no average American would ever be afforded. Now, despite the sweetheart deal, the immediate reaction from CNN was to whine about Republicans.
The Republicans are not going to let this go. We know from the House that they are doing an investigation, not only of what they believe are still some unanswered questions about those financial dealings that Hunter Biden had, other members of the family had overseas, but also just how the Justice Department handled this investigation.
They won't let this go. Republicans actually want questions answered. While leftist media doesn't believe in asking questions about Biden. I mean, they were just about in tears over this.
Boy, this case of Hunter Biden has been a source of political and personal heartache for President Biden.
It really has, George.
Certainly Republicans will continue, it's expected, to make hay of this. As Scott pointed out on Capitol Hill, it certainly remains a big topic of conversation.
I think it has pained the president to see his son be used to launch political attacks against him for so many years now.
And by the way, everybody needs to back off Joe Biden about this.
Just back off. Just because Hunter's copping a guilty plea doesn't mean he's guilty.
You talk about a witch hunt.
Yeah, the leftist media is sure that unlike Adam Schiff and the Trump-Russian collusion, this is the witch hunt.
You talk about a witch hunt.
There's no evidence at all that the Biden family are a bunch of criminals.
They call it the Biden crime family. They claim they've, traded off their name, that they've gotten money from foreign entities illegally. None of that's been proven. There's no evidence of that.
Jonathan Karl says there's no evidence they got money from foreign entities in one sentence at one moment, but then something slips out in another.
But there are significant concerns about Hunter Biden's business dealings. He has the contract that he had with the Ukrainian energy company, also his business dealings in China. I mean, one of the details that we reported earlier they were looking into that's just so strange. Hunter Biden was given a 2.8 carat diamond from a Chinese business associate. I mean, what's it all about? We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know why foreign nationals are giving millions to the Bidens or why Hunter gets a big old diamond from China as a gift. We just know we don't want to ask any questions about that because, well, then we might find out answers.
And by the way, everybody needs to back off Joe Biden about this.
Heck, don't even report on Hunter Biden. CNN's John Avalon is pretty cheesed if you even speak Hunter's name.
Of course, Hunter Biden has been demonized by the right pretty thoroughly. To use just one measure, get this, a LexisNexis search found that he was mentioned more than 2,200 times on Fox News between 2020 and 2022. For those doing the math at home, that's well over once a day. So don't believe the hype.
The hype, huh? Avalon's time span of 1,095 days means that Avalon's definition of obsessive is 2 mentions per day. We also looked at the first 195 days of the Trump presidency and searched for, Trump Jr. And got, well, what do you know? 2,440 results, and that's despite Don Trump Jr. never being charged with a crime. CNN really ordered up and dined in on the Don Jr. nothing burgers back then.
Donald Trump Jr.'s mysterious phone calls around the 2016 Trump Tower meeting.
There was a phone call that Donald Trump Jr. had with an individual with a blocked number. 2 hours later, Trump Jr. had another phone call with a blocked number.
Trump Jr. released a series of bombshell emails he had in June of last year.
Bombshell report about the original emails between Goldstone and Trump Jr.
But now, of course,
absolutely no evidence that anything sleazy that Hunter Biden or the president's brother did has crossed into the White House decision.
Hunter Biden's attorney, Abby Lowell, says there's no evidence of wrongdoing by his client.
There's really no evidence to suggest that they have that proof.
We can't say this enough. There is no evidence to prove that at all.
So don't believe the hype. Instead, look at the comps.
We certainly will. You left this propagandist joke of a man. And speaking of walking jokes, many are concerned about Biden's addled mind and his decision to say God save the Queen last week like British royalty. Of course, that was after giving an anti-American gun-grabbing speech. But if you question Joe, you're simply ignoring all of Biden's successes.
He makes a statement like "God save the Queen" at the end of the his speech. Everybody's calling, going, "This is the end. This is the end." It seems every time there's something that happens, everybody gets on the phone and they start talking, and again, overlook a lot of the successes. I mean, do they think they have a communication problem? Do they think they need to be more assertive getting all of these wins out there?
All those wins. So impressive. Don't criticize.
I know you don't like talking about this.
I think every single Republican candidate would love to have Joe Biden's problems. They would love to, that their only issue is that they're older.
Why are you getting
I'm getting mad because
upset that every Democrat you talk to says this?
Because get over it. He's your candidate.
Now, I thought there were some other Democratic candidates for the left. Oh, yeah. I guess they don't give them coverage unless they feel that Biden might be threatened.
They've been openly flirting with recruiting moderate Democratic Senator Joe Manchin, who just happens to also be a co-chair. He has not said if he will run for president as a centrist. Democrats are not thrilled, you might imagine, about this prospect because data shows that the introduction of a no-labels candidate siphons votes away from Biden and could lead to a Trump victory, which could literally usher in the demise of American democracy.
Literally having the victor of the voting process take office is democracy, but, at least MSNBC makes it clear that they're just a 24-hour campaign ad for Joe Biden.
Get over it. He's your candidate.
He's certainly the candidate of leftist outlets like MSNBC and CNN who have decided Biden's poll numbers aren't bad because of his poor leadership or the bad economy. The poll numbers are bad because, well, voters just don't understand how good things really are.
Just look at the latest Quinnipiac poll numbers that we can put up on the screen, and it really actually shows, well, first of all, if you look at now, 38% approve of Biden's handling of this economy. 57% disapprove.
What people are feeling at home is different than the message they're portraying, and they understand that there's a conflict there. They do have a record, they do have accomplishments, but they also know that people at home still think gas is too high. It might be lower than what it was a year ago, but they still say there's pain at the pump. The same thing at the grocery store. So it's hard for them to receive a message from the president saying, hey, you guys are doing better. Look what I've done. It's just, I think there's a disconnect there.
Why aren't you connecting with how good this White House is? What's wrong with you? I mean, you buy things like food and gas. Just get over it.
And by the way, everybody needs to back off Joe Biden about this.
All right, time for some good news. Taxpayer Suckling National Public Radio has noticed that San Francisco has apparently given up on trying to solve its massive on-the-street problems of crime and homelessness. So NPR dedicated some time in promoting the city's new government official.
The word laureate is most often attached to the winner of a Nobel Prize or a poet whose job is to mark official occasions in verse. Well, to this list, we can add another title, drag laureate. NPR's Chloe Veltman recently joined the country's first drag laureate for her inaugural public appearance.
Oh, what kind of laureate?
Drag laureate.
And what does a Drag Laureate 2.
Wedged into a pair of white patent stilettos and a tight pink skirt suit, Drollinger eventually steps out of the House and into a very busy week.
I am speaking at the San Francisco Arts Commission. I'm also in the same day speaking at the Entertainment Commission. I'm also going to speak at a high school.
You heard about the new store in New York City? It's called the Husband Store. And you can go there and shop for a husband. There's 6 floors in this store. You can only visit each floor one time, though. And each floor you go up, the value increases. You may choose any item from any particular floor, but you can go up a floor, but you cannot go back down. So there was a woman who went to the husband store to find herself a husband. On the first floor, the sign on the door read, "These men have jobs." That sounded good. These men have jobs. Floor 2 says, "These men have jobs and love kids." Floor number 3 said, "These men have jobs, love kids, and are extremely good looking." Wow, she thought, this is sounding pretty good, but I'm compelled to go on to the next floor. Well, she does go to the 4th floor, and the sign reads, "These men have jobs, love kids, are drop dead, good looking, and they help with the housework." Oh, mercy me, she said, I can hardly stand it. Still, she said, I've got to go on. She went to the 5th floor. "These men have jobs, love kids, are drop dead, gorgeous, help with the housework, and have a very strong romantic streak." But she couldn't stand it. She decided she had to just find out what was on floor number 6. Floor number 6 said, "You are visitor 31,456. To this floor, there are no men on this floor. This floor exists solely as proof that women are impossible to please."
Trigger warning. This is a pistol brace. I know it's scary. So many people who are opposed to the Second Amendment. They say they're not opposed to the Second Amendment. They say they just want to regulate guns. They don't. They want to abolish guns. And many of them wouldn't know a gun from a J. Crew catalog. This is a handgun. This is what we're talking about. Now, our Second Amendment right is not unlimited. We know that. It's subject to reasonable restriction by government, consistent with the Constitution and the country's, quote, historical tradition of firearm regulation. Those aren't my words. Those are the Supreme Court's words. I'm quoting New York State Rifle and Pistol Association v. Brewing by the United States Supreme Court. For example, in many states, you can't own a bazooka. That's a reasonable restriction. Your right to own a gun can also be restricted if you suffer from mental illness. That is what we have concluded as a society as a reasonable restriction. The issue today is very simple. It's whether President Biden's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms new rule, in effect banning, or at a minimum severely restricting, pistol braces, is a reasonable restriction under the Constitution. That's what we're discussing today. Trigger warning. This is a pistol brace. I know it's scary. This is a pistol brace. It fits on your forearm like this. Here it is, right here. To the pistol brace is added another piece that grips the handgun. That's what we're talking about here. A pistol brace is also known, this scary piece of equipment here, is also known as a stabilizing brace or an arm brace. It's a simple device. It's mounted to the rear of the pistol. It's designed to anchor the pistol to the shooter's arm, right here. It goes on the forearm. So the shooter can shoot the pistol with one hand. Now, why is that important? Because some Americans don't have two hands, or the use of two hands, or two arms. Pistol braces were invented to help handicapped people, particularly handicapped veterans who don't have use of both of their arms. You don't have to be a handicapped person to use a pistol brace. Some studies have shown that there are as many as 40 million pistol braces in the United States that President Biden wants to outlaw. Not 4 million, 40 million. And most of them, I would say virtually all of them, are owned by law-abiding citizens. Now, this pistol brace, other than stabilizing the pistol, it doesn't change the pistol in any way. The pistol brace doesn't change the caliber of the pistol, doesn't make it more powerful. The pistol brace doesn't change the number of rounds that the pistol can hold. The pistol brace doesn't make the pistol an automatic pistol. Automatic weapons are forbidden in the United States. And the pistol brace doesn't make the pistol fire any faster. The pistol brace also does not help the shooter load the pistol more quickly. Except for stabilizing the pistol, it doesn't change the pistol in any way. It just makes it easier to hold, which is important, particularly if you're handicapped. As one of my colleagues alluded to, pistol braces were invented in 2012. They have been legal since. As I said, millions of Americans own them. Millions of Americans use them, especially handicapped Americans. The Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau has never had a problem with pistol braces. None, zero, zilch, nada, until President Biden became president. Now, President Biden and his ATF have promulgated a rule. It says attaching a pistol brace to a pistol somehow magically stops the pistol from being a pistol and turns it into a short-barreled rifle. The ATF has defended its proposed new rule, as has President Biden, by pointing to 2 mass shootings that were committed by individuals who used pistols with pistol braces. Now, why does it matter? Why is the ATF trying to say a pistol is no longer a pistol? If you use a pistol brace, it's a short barrel rifle. I'll tell you why. You don't have to be a Latin scholar to figure it out. Because short barrel rifles, once again, which the ATF says pistol braces turn pistols into, are heavily restricted by the National Firearms Act of 1934 and the Gun Control Act of 1968. That's why they want to turn a pistol into a short barrel rifle by using a pistol brace. Under these 2 federal statutes, if the ATF can succeed, the ATF can require the owner of the pistol with the pistol brace to register it within 120 days with the ATF. They want to start a gun registry for law-abiding Americans. Hello? They want to start a gun registry. If the ATF pulls this off, this is what they can do. This is what you have to do if you own a pistol brace and you use it with your handgun, handicapped or otherwise. You got to register it within 120 days with the ATF. You got to destroy the pistol brace. You've got to dismantle the pistol brace, or you've got to surrender your pistol to the ATF, or you have to destroy your pistol. And violations, if you don't do what the ATF says, violations of these 2 federal statutes are punishable by 5 to 10 years in prison and fines of up to $250,000. Stupidity should hurt more. Unless you self-identify as an idiot, you can see what's going on here. The American people may be poorer under President Biden, but they're not stupid. The ATF is trying to keep Americans from owning pistols, or they're trying to keep Americans from owning pistol braces, or they're trying to use this rule to start an extensive national gun registry. And the ATF rule is just a backdoor way to subject pistols to more smothering regulations. I swear to God and all the angels, Americans get so much government, they choke on it. They choke on it.
Please like and subscribe. I love you.